So, folks, we're back. Yesterday we was in Indiana with a nonprofit. The day
Mhm.
before that, we was in New York and then California. Now we back home in Florida, specifically in Tampa, and we have a new nonprofit that's about to get started. Let me give you some facts. Most nonprofits fail because they don't have the infrastructure necessary to be successful. Only 12% of Black nonprofits actually have full-time employees. Over 70% of white nonprofits do. When
Mhm.
we look at nonprofits in terms of which ones are less likely to be funded, it's female nonprofits, Black, that are least likely to be funded. That's why our clients represent over 86% of Black-led female nonprofits. Because the fact of the matter is that when we look at the larger picture, 67% of nonprofits are female-led. They're female-led. Yet they get the least amount of money. Our goal is to change that narrative. But let me shut up because I want this sister here to talk about who she is and what she does. Talk about what state you're in. Talk about the
Uh,
name of your nonprofit, what your nonprofit plans to do, and more importantly, why did you start the nonprofit? You probably could be doing 1,000 things because I know you got so many different businesses. So it has to be something that led you to start a nonprofit.
yeah, first, my name is Vanessa Jackson. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I've been in the Brandon, Tampa area for about 10, 11 years since 2013. Um, I cut hair. I'm a barber. I own a barber shop. It's called Kingdom Cuts. And I've always been drawn to the youth. So I wanted to, and I've always did charity. Like I always dedicate my Christmas to cutting the homeless and stuff like that. During COVID, I was always out feeding the homeless, giving them toiletries, stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Just through different things that have been happening in Tampa, and then I realized like there's nowhere for children to go. There's nowhere for teenagers to go here. So this is why they're getting into things that they really shouldn't even be a part of right now. Just a couple of weeks ago, it was a shooting in Ybor, a couple of shootings in Ybor, and really they have no place in Ybor. All Ybor
If
is
I could just jump in real quick
yeah.
because a
Go
lot of
ahead.
people around the nation just need to understand the significance of what she talked about. In Evo City, there was a mass murder here in a mass shooting here in the city of Tampa, Pacific, Evo City. 14-year-old was killed, and other
Yep.
folks was killed as well. It was the largest number of people that was shot and killed at the same time in recent history in the city of Tampa. What she talks about, what compels her is those type of things. And nationally, when we look at the news, we're seeing what, 11, 12, 13 years old that's out
Yeah.
there
Yes,
killing.
sir.
It's like it's
Yes, sir.
becoming commonplace. So I just want to put in respect the significance of what she's trying to do. I'm sorry,
Yes,
would
sir.
you continue?
Yeah. So that's basically I've always felt that way, but that really hit me, and I started thinking like, you know, there's nothing for them to do. There's no community centers here. There's nothing. And I know my mother, she actually was in that type of realm when I was younger. She had a community center. It was called the Mary Chapman Center. We used to have dances, basketball games, tutoring, all type of stuff for us to come after school or during the summer. So, you know, I was like, hey, maybe I could help out. So somebody had called me from social services asking to asking for me to cut the kids' hair for a lower price. And 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 I said, of course, she told me that I was the first person that she thought of. So I was like, all right, of course I would do it. So I talked to Stephanie. Stephanie had came in and I told her um what was going on. And she was like, you should make a nonprofit. And I was
Okay.
like, should I? And she was
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I was like, well, okay. And I was like, well, once I took it home and I thought about it, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do a nonprofit, but I can't cut everybody's hair. And I was like, but you know, we could do something that more than just haircuts. So I was
Yes.
like, well,
Yes.
let's do
Yes.
haircuts, let's do tutoring, let's
Yes.
do building interviewing skills, how to write a resume, bring
Yes.
motivational
Exactly.
speakers in, just getting
Exactly.
young adults ready for the world,
Exactly.
a
Exactly. Can
business
I just cut in
class.
one more second?
Of
One more
course.
time. The sister talked about there are nonprofits that are being funded for youth programs in the city of Tampa. The problem is that they're not cultural sensitive. They tend to be other people. And I don't want, other people don't look
I
like
know
us,
exactly what you're saying.
but
Yep.
they tend not to be culturally sensitive to understand the culture. That's why we talked about 67% of nonprofits are led by Black female because they understand the culture. Yes, they the least funded, but they understand the culture. That's the significance of making changes in the neighborhoods that we come from. You have to have a relationship and
Yes, sir.
experience with that population. So I just want to emphasize that because the sister's doing a lot of good things. So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
If somebody wanted to give some funding, and I know we're gonna get started with the
Mhm.
nonprofit, but you have an email where people can email you and say, "Hey, look, I want to get some, or I want to volunteer time, or whatever the case might be. Here's your opportunity. You're speaking to the whole nation." Did you say where you was from? Where you
Yeah,
operating
I'm from
on?
Cleveland, Ohio, but I reside in Tampa, Florida.
What
Uh,
did you know that you also can do your nonprofit here in Tampa and then do a fun nonprofit in your home state and do two nonprofits at the same time?
I did not, and Cleveland needs it. It really
It's
does. 'Cause
unlimited on what you can do. And that's why we deal with nonprofits. We do everything nonprofits. That means we got the expertise necessary to help nonprofits like yourself. To date, we work with over 650 nonprofits nationally
wow.
and putting together their nonprofits. And I'll say it again, the overwhelming folks that's part of our narrative in terms of nonprofit are Black females. They tend to be anywhere from the age of uh, uh, 44 up to 65, in that particular age group. But yet they the most least funded. We're changing the narrative one nonprofit at a time. And we wanted to bring the sister on board. This should show what she's about to do. And guess what? She's
So,
gonna come back once that nonprofit is started and she's operational like we always do. We're gonna bring her back to tell that story. She's gonna talk about her ups, her downs, and how she made it to open that door up. Anything else you want to say before we end this interview?
um, yeah.
Now you're speaking
What
to the nation.
what I want to say is this nonprofit is definitely God inspired, and yeah, we work off of integrity. So that's
Okay.
what this is about. And
You said
that's
it all.
those are the type of people that I want on my board and just to work with, period. So we could bring
Okay.
other people closer.
Excellent. Thank you. We appreciate it.